when people ask you, maybe back in America, like, why did you decide to go to Thailand? Like, what is it about there that you like? What do you tell them?
I mean, I think people who've never been to Thailand, they have the impression that like Thailand is like a third world country, or there's like only ladyboys, or I'm only going there for like the red light district and everything. But they'd be super blown away by how actually modern it is, how good the culture is, how nice the people are. There's just so many different factors. Like for me in Thailand, I don't live like a crazy vacation mode. I have all of my psychological needs met here. I have all my physical needs met here. It checks all the boxes, and there's virtually no compromise here. No crime, no danger, no like really bad people. It is everything I want in a good society, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean as also an American that came over here. But, I just had my friend visit. He had never been here before. And his impression of Thailand was kind of exactly what you described, like this, all the stereotypes. And once he got here, his eyes really opened to it, I think.
Yeah.
So you came here first on a holiday trip, but what made you decide to go to Thailand? Did you see it on Instagram or did someone tell you about it? How did you know to come here?
Yeah, so I was just kind of doing some research on where I could go to save money and then where I could go that would be in Asia. I was primarily interested in going to Asia. I was thinking about Vietnam, but it seemed a little bit like less developed, I guess. I was thinking about going to Korea because I am Korean. But I was a little bit hesitant just because I wouldn't know if I would like fit in as much because I was born in America, super Americanized. I feel like Koreans are maybe quite judgy, so I was kind of hesitant to actually live there. So I was like, where could I go to just be myself, just be truly free and live in an affordable place too that's also modern and developed. I was like Thailand. Like Thailand checked all those boxes, right? So just came out here for a little vacation at first and then got super comfortable with it. And that's it. Yeah, just decided never to leave. Yeah.
I totally get what you mean about the Korean thing, not fitting in. I think a lot of Asian cultures, they are very harsh to judge outsiders. I've been to Japan a little bit. I haven't been to Korea, but I've heard stories. But you being here in Thailand, you're American.
Yeah, 100%.
But a lot of people, like local people, when they see you, where do they think you're from?
They're pretty good at thinking I'm Korean or either Japanese, yeah.
And do you think they treat you differently when they think you're Japanese or Korean and then they realize you're American?
Are you talking about Thai people?
Yeah, Thai people.
No, not really. No.
Okay.
There's no sort of like change in behavior, like discrimination or anything like that.
Yeah. Like for me, I get a lot of people tell me, oh, you don't look American. Yeah. And then I ask them, what does American look like? And they don't really have a good answer. It's basically what they see in movies, like Chris Hemsworth. That's what they think. And I'm sorry, I'm not Chris Hemsworth. But for you, I think it must be even harder because you're Asian American. So I think for some people here, maybe, tell me if I'm wrong, it's hard for them to compute that you're American. Like Eric, Minority Nomad, he's African American, right?
Yeah.
You, me, and him are more similar than a Korean, an African, and whatever, a European.
Yeah.
But I think for Thai people, it can be hard for them to wrap their head around that because their society is very homogenous. But I'm just curious if you had any weird experiences with that, being Asian American.
Well, I guess it's kind of a weird thing when people ask me like where I'm from. So I'll switch between saying Phom Pen Kon Kaoli, like I'm Korean, and then I'll also say like Phom Majak Pratet America. So I'm like I came from America. So because like whenever I just say I'm Korean, they're like, you don't really sound Korean, or you don't speak like a Korean or something. And then I'm like, yeah, I'll kind of explain like that.
You were born in America, right?
100%, yeah.
Were your parents born in Korea or America?
Korea.
Okay, yeah. So you're first generation.
First generation.
So like I'm a little bit more removed, so I'm third. So It is kind of a weird thing with Americans. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out because that's kind of a interesting thing for me.
Yeah, it's like America is hugely diverse, right? So it's like there's not one depiction of like what Americans look like, because if you're born from America, you're 100% an American, So it's like people might not have that automatic assumption that, oh, he looks American or he's American,
Yeah. What do you think about how like Americans really don't know much about the world, and especially over here in the East, like in Thailand, I get comments all the time, like on YouTube or Instagram with other people. They're like, "Oh, these Americans, they don't know anything." And we're like, "What do you think about that? Like, did you know much about Asia or?"
Yeah, so I have like two perspectives on this. First perspective is I think it's a trend lately to like kind of hate on Americans. Like if you look on social media, they're just like the number one comment is like typical Americans, or like Americans are the worst, or like Americans always start problems. Like I think it's like a trend to hate on Americans. But I also do acknowledge that there are a lot of ignorant Americans. And then my second perspective is that I don't think non-Americans realize how vastly huge America is. It's like if you look at America in the geographical map, America covers the entire span of like most of Europe. It's like it is unbelievably huge. To go from New York to California, that's like 8 hours, 10 hours.
Right.
But if I wanted to go to a different country in Asia, 3 hours, 4 hours, it's like it's unbelievably huge. So the argument for Americans is that like you don't really even need to leave America to be well traveled. Like, because everywhere in America, all these different cities and countries, or
I know what you mean though, because America is so big. It has like different cultures within itself. Like New
Yeah.
York is very different than Texas,
Oh,
and that's
yeah.
very different than like, Seattle.
Yeah.
So in Miami, so there's so many different places.
Mhm.
Americans really don't have to leave to have like a vast amount of experiences. And, there's two huge oceans between the US and a lot of other places it's just a bigger obstacle. So I can see why a lot of Americans don't know much about the world, especially when American media is constantly fed back to them. But it's cool that I think it's changing now. I think a lot more people are kind of learning more, whether it's from social media or whatever. But yeah, I think we'll see more Americans coming over, especially with all the chaos happening in the US right now.
Well, I do like a lot of things about America. I think some of the things I didn't like is how unlivable a lot of America is. Like you have to have a car, you have to drive places. You can't just walk 5 minutes, go to a cafe, drive 5 minutes, go to a mall, go to a 5-star hotel, go to a rooftop bar. You can't do all these things in the same day, because you'll have to endure traffic, have to park. It's so unbelievably huge and kind of like unlivable in that sense, unwalkable in that sense. That's one thing I really liked about Bangkok in particular. I could step outside of my room, walk 5 minutes, eat some delicious street food, walk another 10 minutes, go to a huge luxury mall, hit up my friends, drive 5 minutes on the motorbike. It's like, it's so approachable, so walkable. That's one of the biggest perks here, I think. And
Where are you from originally? Georgia?
Yeah, I was born and raised from Georgia, and then I had moved to New York, and then I moved here.
Okay, New York City.
Yeah.
So that's interesting because Bangkok is a huge metropolis, similar to New York, like in size. What did you like about New York? What didn't you like about New York? Because I ask you that because so many people here, especially Thai people, they have this dream of going to New York City because they see it in movies, they see it in media. But in your opinion, like, what is it really like?
Yeah, I bought into that dream as well, like waking up to the big city, like feeling the energy and just feeling like I could achieve anything, but it quickly drained on me of how exhausted I was just trying to go up this ladder, just trying to make as much money as possible, just trying to like compete and feeling so much pressure and just and trying to make as much money as possible. Like I was just on this hamster wheel and I was already making good money, but it's just like in New York, especially in New York, you never feel like you have enough. And you always want to rise to the top. And like, I was becoming very consumerist, very like individualistic, very materialistic, like all these things that wasn't really me before I moved to New York. In New York, you have to be very like doggish. You have to be very concerned about yourself or like your dreams or your goals. You have to be super ambitious because it's such a high competitive city, and everybody around you is doing super well. So you're always like kind of comparing yourself to others as well. So that kind of exhausted me, like all my life I had strived to be successful and to be wealthy and to be, successful, right? And I actually had achieved some success in my 20s. And I was like, man, I finally made it. But I felt more unfulfilled than ever, having lived in New York City. Because at least when I was like broke before, I had a bunch of hope to move to this big city and to live this crazy lifestyle. But now that I quote unquote achieved success and I was there, I was like, wow, this is this was so purposeless. Like, what am I doing here? Like, and then I fell into some quick depression and stuff. Like, long story short, I felt like I had to leave New York City, but there was nowhere else in the United States I wanted to move to. Like, cause I already traveled a lot within the US, and I was like, why don't I just do a crazy spontaneous move and just move all the way by myself abroad? And then I moved to Thailand, and I was like, man, I could start over here. Like, I don't have to impress other people. I could just be totally myself, do whatever I want, have total freedom, and still do the things that like give me happiness, such as like work or take care of myself, have good relationships, do all the things that were positive and good in New York City, and still have it here in Bangkok, you know, still have the city life, still have the adventurousness, the crazy explorations, the relationships. I could have it all here in Thailand. Yeah.
What kind of work were you doing in the US?
Most of my work was in e-commerce, Shopify.
Okay, cool. And you had mentioned you took a holiday trip here. Was it for like a week, 2 weeks?
It was for like 3 months.
Oh, you 3 months.
Yeah.
Okay. And you went home, and then what happened? The depression set in?
No, not really depression, but like I went home, particularly for my sister's wedding, and then I was stuck in my New York City room with roommates, and I was just like, what am I doing here? Like, I don't have no obligations being here. I looked at my flights to Bangkok. I was like, let me go tomorrow. And then I literally went the next day. Yeah.
So you went back to the US, and
Yeah.
then how many days did you book that flight?
Well, it wasn't like the next day. I went to my sister's wedding, spent some family time. It was in Virginia. Then I went back to New York City. And then, actually I got my story mixed up. I had went to Las Vegas to live with my friend for a while. I was thinking maybe I could live in Las Vegas, but I was like, that city was super degenerate. And then I went back to New York City, and I questioned like, why am I here? Like, you know, there's nowhere in America I want to live. So then I booked the next day flight. Yeah.
That's a really common situation. Like, I came here for a month. I went back home. The first day I was back home, it's snowing. I said, I don't know how I'm going to get back there, but
Yeah.
I booked a ticket, and I just went a few weeks later. If you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.